Good Tuesday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside that weather window. And as advertised, I talked about this last night when we got together, that we'd see some clouds today out there, and we did. We are seeing a ridge of high pressure building over the inland northwest, but at the same time, a weak shortwave, I should say, of low pressure slid through that ridge today and just brought us some clouds. Not much as far as shower activity. The wind stayed down too, but it did keep our temperatures down. But as we look ahead through the month of June, by the way, beautiful shot looking down at Rock Island, but our June outlook, temperatures, good chance that we will be above average, by equal chance above and below average, so about average for June as far as temperatures go, and it looks like above average as far as precipitation goes, and that's after an above average May as far as precipitation here in the Wenatchee area. In May, almost an inch above where we should be, and more of that could be on the way. We'll talk more weather coming up for you a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. The Chelan-Douglas Health District expects to submit a new application to move into the next phase of COVID-19 recovery within a few weeks. They filed their lawsuits May 22nd, seeking a quick end to Governor Jay Inslee's stay-at-home COVID-19 order. Now the plaintiffs will have to wait until at least tomorrow to learn the fate of that case. And a Kashmir man accused of exposing himself to school children will face no charges if he completes a mental health diversion program. But first, we begin tonight. Firefighters in Chelan battled a blaze at the Lake Chelan Easy Mart on Wooden Avenue early this morning. The collapse part of the building's ceiling and forced crews into defensive fire operations. Chelan Fire and Rescue said that fire was reported just after 4 a.m. as light smoke inside the building. That was quickly upgraded to a commercial structure fire as flames began shooting through the roof. Crews used a ladder truck to attack the fire from above as fire crews from Manson, Orondo, and Eniat arrived to assist. The combined efforts of 33 fire personnel had the fire under control by 5:30 a.m. There were no injuries, and the cause of the fire is under investigation. The Chelan-Douglas Health District expects to submit a new application to move into the next phase of COVID-19 recovery within a few weeks. Governor Inslee's Safe Start plan allows counties to move into phases of greater and greater economic activity as they show progress in the fight against coronavirus, especially a slowdown in the rate of infection. The two-county Board of Health voted Monday to make a new application after their first attempt was rejected back in May. 27 of Washington's 39 counties are now in Phase 2 of the four-phase plan. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Malcolm Butler said the new state guidelines appear within the district's reach.
After consulting with Dr. Rutherford and Barry and reviewing our ongoing performance, I am comfortable recommending a graduated reopening of the economy. This guidance from the governor does state that the first move is to have a recommendation from the health officer to move towards a variance, and I would like you all to hear this as my formal recommendation that we do so. Although our transmission rate is significantly higher than in other parts of the state, we are experiencing a low rate of severe disease. Our medically frail populations appear to be sufficiently insulated, and our healthcare systems now have sufficient bed, PPE, and testing capacity to reopen the economy. I would recommend that the Chelan-Douglas Health District put together a work group of 6 thought leaders to develop a variance proposal which is strong enough to overcome the clear epidemiologic hurdle of having the second highest COVID transmission rate in the state.
The current rate of new COVID-19 cases in Chelan and Douglas counties is estimated at 93 per 100,000 people in the population. Well, they filed their lawsuits May 22nd, seeking a quick end to Governor Jay Inslee's stay-at-home COVID-19 order. Now the plaintiffs will have to wait until at least tomorrow to learn the fate of their case. Attorney Joel Ard withdrew one lawsuit against the governor in Douglas County to focus on the Chelan County lawsuit before Judge Kristen Ferreira, which now features 46 plaintiffs. State attorneys want the case moved to Thurston County. The court held a preliminary hearing yesterday, and we captured some highlights.
We did file an amended complaint. We heard certainly from your colleague in Okanagan, who is sitting by designation in Douglas, concerns about the possibility that the Chelan-Douglas County Health District could be subject to different rules if there were different orders. I think Your Honor raised a very similar concern on Thursday. When we set out, we understood, we certainly believed and still believe that venue is proper in the home counties of the plaintiffs, and the plaintiffs preferred to have venue in their respective home counties. Out of an abundance of caution, I believe that we are filing, even as we speak, a motion to amend. I think that that's appropriate in the interest of justice. It addresses very specific concerns that both courts raised as to having division. It does add into this court most of the Douglas County plaintiffs. The members, those plaintiffs both in Douglas and Chelan County who are members of the Chelan-Douglas County Board of Health have withdrawn as plaintiffs given the possibility of some other involvement by that entity, so that they aren't in any way playing two roles in the litigation.
I think we can kind of safely assume that plaintiffs correctly recognize that their complaint had a big problem with venue because they named the governor, who is a state official acting in virtue of his office, and the proclamation was issued in Thurston County, and so the case arose therefrom. That's why they amended the complaint, obviously. But it's really a simple question here. It's whether when a state official issues an executive order, a proclamation in a state of emergency that has statewide effect, does the cause of action arise either in Thurston County, where the proclamation was issued, or everywhere? There's no middle ground that the court can reach here, because plaintiffs' claims do not hinge on their residence in Douglas County or in Chelan County. Their assertion of venue does not hinge on any specific event happening in Douglas or Chelan County. Their event hinges simply on the fact that the proclamation touches Douglas County and Chelan County and every other county in the state.
I'm going to give the plaintiffs an opportunity to brief the issue of venue now that they've added additional parties. But I think the state has a right to have this venue motion heard as soon as possible. And I don't want too much time to pass, because this is an issue that if it needs to be transferred to Thurston County, that needs to be done sooner rather than later, because there are multiple lawsuits, and the state is having to fight this on multiple fronts, and that is something that typically the statutes anticipate not to have happen.
Plaintiffs in that case now include 3 Wenatchee City Council members, 2 pastors of Grace City Church, State Republican Council Committeewoman Marcy Collins, Windmill Restaurant owner Kevin Smith, and NCWLIFE host and former state representative Carrie Condata. A Kashmir man accused of exposing himself to school children will face no charges if he completes a mental health diversion program. 29-year-old Christopher Robert Miller was arrested last December after Wenatchee police said he exposed himself to 2 13-year-old Foothills Middle School students and to a 17-year-old Westside High School student. In each case, he allegedly asked directions from the students while they were walking near their schools, then exposed himself when they approached his car. Last week, Miller agreed to enter 6 months of treatment. If he completes it successfully, the city will dismiss 3 gross misdemeanor charges of lewd conduct. Coming up next, Wenatchee Valley College President Jim Richardson has weighed in on the death of police custody that sparked national confrontations between protesters and police. The body of a Snohomish County firefighter who'd been missing since Saturday was found Monday evening on a P.O. Point cliffside near Cle Elum. Okanagan County Commissioner Jim Detrow is facing criticism and calls for his resignation after sharing a Facebook meme that made light of violence against protesters in the death of George Floyd. And the thunderstorm that rolled through the Wenatchee Valley Saturday evening was brief but fierce. We'll show you time-lapse video of the storm as it rolled in. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
The two hottest pickups in America are at Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. First, the Ram 1500 with back-to-back Truck of the Year awards from Motor Trend, and now the Car and Driver 10 Best list for 2020. They call it a luxury sedan with pickup capabilities. Ram is on a roll now with third-generation EcoDiesel power. Next up, the Jeep Gladiator, also a 2020 10 Best model based on the new award-winning Jeep Wrangler. It has options and capabilities that no other truck can offer. Two more reasons when it comes to buying a truck: there's no reason to leave town.
Traditional values and innovation in honoring the life of each family we serve is part of the ministry of Heritage Memorial Chapel. Our staff is committed to walk with your family with compassion through this time of grief. We are here to help and here to serve, the right kind of help when you need it most. Heritage Memorial Chapel.
So Pam, how's your mom doing?
She's okay. She's struggling. She'd like to stay in her house, and it's getting harder for her to do the daily chores.
What kinds of problems is she having?
Just basic house cleaning, taking care of her house, yard work, taking care of her medicine.
Mm-hmm. It does sound exhausting.
It is very exhausting, and I always worry about her.
Aging and Adult Care can assist you or your loved one to remain comfortably and safely in their own home. Contact them today to start the conversation.
Welcome back. In another news, Wenatchee Valley College President Jim Richardson has weighed in on the death in police custody that sparked national confrontations between protesters and police. In a statement on Monday to all Wenatchee Valley College staff and students, Richardson called the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, quote, evidence of systemic racism. He went on to say, we should always uphold the worth and dignity of all people. Now more than ever, we have a responsibility to advocate for each other and our community. Richardson asked the Wenatchee Valley College community to care for each other and referred students to on-campus counseling services if needed. Well, the body of a Snohomish County firefighter who had been missing since Saturday was found Monday night on a P.O. Point cliffside near Cle Elum. 24-year-old Marcus Carroll of Redmond had been hiking alone to the viewpoint on P.O. Point. That's just south of Cle Elum on Saturday. He was last heard from at about 5 p.m. Saturday when he sent a text message. His truck was found on the access road to the viewpoint, triggering a search by the Kittitas County Search and Rescue Team. Using a drone, they spotted Carroll's body on the west side of the cliff face just before dark on Monday. Because of the technical challenges of working in the dark, Carroll's body was not recovered until this morning. Okanagan County Commissioner Jim Detrow is facing criticism and calls for his resignation after sharing a Facebook meme that made light of violence against protesters and the death of George Floyd. Detrow, the Republican chairman of the commission, shared the meme May 30th and has since removed it from his personal Facebook page. He defended its use in media interviews, but later posted on his page that he'd been hacked. Well, the thunderstorm that rolled through the Wenatchee Valley Saturday night was brief but fierce. NCWLIFE's Tucker Wagner created a time-lapse of that storm using footage from our local Tel Sky-Fi cameras. Take a look. Watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's features story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Please stay with us.
At local Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza. Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Aging and Adult Care offers many in-home care options and services for seniors and family caregivers. But did you know they also offer free in-home delivered meals? Aging and Adult Care has expanded its program for home-delivered meals to help elderly and vulnerable adults at this challenging time. If you are in need of prepared meals or know someone who could benefit, call Aging and Adult Care for more information about free home-delivered meals. Call 509-886-0700.
Nissan is the value leader in new cars and SUVs. Check out these new models starting at under $20,000. The all-new Versa from $17,020. The all-new Sentra from $17,400. And the all-new Kicks from $17,995. Now you can have the Nissan style, performance, and reliability, all for under $20,000.
And they're all here at Town Nissan, up behind Costco in East Wenatchee.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Wenatchee residents gathered last night along the sidewalks of Chelan Avenue in protest of the death of George Floyd. In tonight's feature story, here with coverage from the demonstration is NCWLIFE's Kyle Montgomery.
Gonna try whatever, and this is the only thing that's here, and I need to do something. Something is better than nothing. I want to do more, but at least happy to be out here and support.
About 1,000 people protested loudly but peacefully outside the Chelan County Courthouse and along Chelan Avenue Monday evening. It was nothing like the scenes of violence and looting that have played out in other communities following the death of George Floyd, a black Minneapolis man who died as a police officer kneeled on his neck for more than 9 minutes. Wenatchee protesters expressed their anger and frustration with speeches, chanting, and by waving signs as honking motorists passed.
And witness police murder and brutalize us without repercussions. This is why we continue to demonstrate and engage in discussions about this. We deem necessary.
At one point, a group of more than 100 people broke off to march from Chelan Avenue, down Orondo Avenue, then north on Mission Street and past the Wenatchee Police Department before returning to the park. Wenatchee Police Captain Edgar Reinfeld said the police presence was intentionally minimal and he is not surprised there were no issues.
So the reason, and one of the hugest reasons that protests and other demonstrations here in the Wenatchee area are successful is the way people choose to behave, first of all. But a huge component is almost uniformly organizers of these activities call us. And we have frank conversations and we talk very simply ahead of time. We don't see the violence because we have a great community. We don't see the looting because we have a great community. We have people in our community who respect each other and respect the things that belong to each other enough that we don't have to do that. We have crime here, we have theft, we have problems, but thankfully we don't have those kind of problems because of the way people choose to be here. And it's an amazing thing.
Get registered to vote.
Reporting with NCWLIFE, I'm Kyle Montgomery.
Time now to take a look at that North Central Washington weather forecast. And before we get to those details, let's look outside our weather window. The back nine of Rock Island Golf Course, and you can see beautiful day out there today. The camera's moving just a little bit, so yeah, still some breezy conditions, nothing like yesterday, but a little bit breezy, and some clouds out there today as well. But beautiful shape the Rock Island course is. Now get out there and get some exercise and play some golf because the weather, it's going to get better over these next couple of days. High temperature today right where we should be, 75 degrees unofficially, and that's normal. 48 is where we started the day, 53 is our normal low temperature. 96 our record high once again in that very hot year of 1986. Record low 40, and that was in 1976. Sunrise just about 5 a.m. now, and the sunset is at 8:51. Let's take a look at that surface loop and show you what we can expect as we move through the next 7 days. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. We will see that pesky northwest wind tonight, 10 to 15 miles an hour, mainly in the central and eastern part of Washington state. High pressure out in the Pacific. That's really controlling our weather over the next 48 hours. As we move into our Wednesday hump day forecast, boy, it's going to be nice. West winds out there only 5 to 15 miles an hour for Wednesday, so you'll feel it at times, but also lots of sunshine for Wednesday and warmer temperatures too, as we will see temperatures climbing into the upper 70s for Thursday. Sunny, light winds, and look at all of the clear skies all the way back into the Great Lakes states. And there it is, that beautiful orange color that we love so much in the eastern part of Washington, signifying about 80-degree temperatures. Same goes for Friday, mostly cloudy skies though, about like today, mild temperatures, but by evening time we will see about a 30% chance for showers. Area of low pressure right here trying to develop, another one right here as well, and that'll bring waves of moisture at us all weekend long. So on Saturday, I think it'll be the best chance for rain here, a 40% chance of the wet stuff. It will cool down. Large area of low pressure right here over Montana, and that's going to bring some moisture back at us on Saturday. A little bit of rain possible for Sunday, but I think our big weather feature Sunday, the wind. And here we go with it all over the western and central United States. We'll see winds about 20 to 25 miles an hour. Still a 30% chance of showers before we stabilize somewhat as we get into Monday. Partly cloudy skies then the first part of next week. It will be cooler than normal with high temperatures then right around 70 degrees. Let's take a look now at your Patriot Plumbing, Heating and Cooling 7-day forecast. 51 tonight, 80 your high temperature tomorrow, 79 as we get into Thursday. Nice for Friday too, and then things go downhill for the weekend. A chance for rain each day with high temperatures in the lower 70s. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
Boating in the Wenatchee Valley starts at Bob File Boats and Motors. See their full line of Crown Line boats. Crown Line features the Forte gel coat, which perfectly accentuates the sporty silhouette of this boat. Its contours are further enhanced by Crown Line's patented fast tab hull design, which not only embraces the distinctive sports car styling, but also ensures a safe and comfortable ride. See Crown Line boats at Bob File Boats and Motors on Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee or online at bobfile.com.
Bob File Boats and Motors, we're dealing. Bob File's gonna make you smile.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Tuesday to you, staying home and staying healthy. Eric Granstrom on the NCWLIFE channel. The senseless death of an African-American in Minneapolis at the hands of a white police officer has been felt throughout the country and in the sports community. The Seahawks put out a statement Monday supporting the goal of equality and togetherness. It said in part, quote, "The Seahawks family is dismayed by the unacceptable act of violence that occurred against George Floyd last week in Minneapolis and grieve that loss along with countless others in a similar manner, including most recently Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. Our heartfelt condolences are extended to their families and every other family that has had to endure the pain from similar atrocities. These biased actions are systemic and have plagued our society for generations and have culminated to the current state of unrest we are experiencing. The Seahawks are guided by overall principles of acceptance and understanding that help us create a culture of respect, equality, and inclusiveness both on and off the field. We as an organization and as individuals represent and respect a wide range of human differences, personal experiences, and cultural backgrounds. We stand with Seattle and every community in helping to unite and heal our society and overcome the hurt, anger, and frustration through peaceful protests and acts of togetherness." End quote. The Seahawks took another step in saying that they will provide recipients with grants from the Seahawks Players Equality and Justice for All Action Fund in the amount of $500,000. Coach Pete Carroll took significant time in a team video conference to allow players to express their feelings and experiences about what's going on in the country. Bobby Wagner began his Monday press conference by inviting the media involved to tell the story of the Black experience in America.
You know, over the years, we have always talked to you about, you guys being able to control the narrative and say what's really going on. And so, I feel like a lot of focus is on, you know, the rioting, the looting, the people stealing stuff. But we're not talking enough about what started that. You know, I think the Black community is tired of seeing the same things going on and not seeing the change. And, you know, I think we're tired of seeing people not being held accountable for the actions that they do, but understanding if we were in that position, we will be held accountable. And so, you know, I challenge everybody on this call to do your part and report the media and report the message and what it really is. And you know, we're tired of seeing Black people getting killed. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm having conversations with people, and you know, somebody said, "Man, you know what? I'm afraid to have a child. I'm afraid to have a Black child because I don't know how they're gonna be treated in this world based off their skin color." That's not something that that's not a position anybody should be in.
Dwayne Brown met with reporters just 2 days after the death of Floyd and was saddened by the senseless taking of a life.
Just an awful situation that could have been prevented. I feel like, you know, someone called the cops on him for potentially writing a bad check, and, you know, he ended up dying on camera, you know, with unarmed and handcuffs, you know, and so, I mean, it seems like things like this continue to happen every year at some point. You know, I don't know when it'll change, but it's sad, man. It's sad, you know. And
Russell Wilson posted a lengthy Twitter response yesterday saying, in part, "We cannot continue to ignore racism as though it has ended or never happened. The continual violence inflicted upon blacks and people of color must stop. We need change now. We need love. We need compassion. We need grace and forgiveness, even in the midst of the pain." Those involved in athletics across Eastern Washington also speaking out against racism. Washington State Athletic Director Pat Chun said, quote, 50 years ago, my parents immigrated to the United States from South Korea filled with promises and ideals of the American dream. Unbeknownst to them, the hope of the American dream that brought them to a new land was filled with historical systemic inequalities, injustices, and gross social disparities. Unfortunately for our country, there are countless examples of oppression that still exist today, specifically against our African American communities, and this is unacceptable. Gonzaga basketball coach Mark Few. Growing up the son of a minister and in a Christian family, I was taught and modeled that every person on this earth is equal and should be treated the same no matter what their race, color of skin, gender, or socioeconomic status. Actions are more important than words. Myself and our program will continue to be active, part of enacting change locally, regionally, and nationally. And Washington State basketball player Isaac Bonton said this, "As long as we can breathe, we should not be silent." And that goes for everybody. Truer statements have never been spoken. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, Eric. And now let's check in with Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thank you very much, Grant. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of phone calls, emails, back and forth. But we're good to go on Wednesday's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, my exclusive interview with Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Ringo Starr. We'll talk about his new solo album. We'll talk about, of course, the band. I'm being told, hold tight, I'm being told Ringo Starr will not be available for tomorrow's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'll just stare back at the camera for an hour. Or we'll do news and weather and stuff like that. We'll figure that out. I got 23 hours. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, Dan. I'm sorry, too. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And don't forget, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson.
Hi, I'm Ricardo, and this is Amanda, and we are from Impact Auto Sales.
Where you can expect a hassle-free car buying experience. With our wide selection of used cars, trucks, and SUVs, let one of our friendly sales staff help you find the vehicle that fits your lifestyle. We have financing available for all credit types and great low rates for first-time buyers. Call us today at 888-8000 or stop by 3522 State Highway 97A in Wenatchee. Impact Auto Sales, where we strive to make an impact on your life and not your wallet.